Guys, quick backstory. Wirtual uploaded a new video around an hour ago, right? And the video is called Exposing Trackmania's Biggest Con Man, with the thumbnail of this, colorful car and saying fraud. For those of you that are unaware, this is Riolu's car skin from Trackmania United Forever. So it is apparently a video about Riolu. And that's pretty interesting because the entire Riolu cheating scandal, I guess you all know about it, already was 4 years ago. Like, it was around April, May 2021, so almost 4 years ago. This video came out, which I guess all of you have watched. Everybody knows about it. This video came out where everything was explained. Super good video. Then a little bit over a year ago, we had a video on 92Bob. I'm not sure if all of you have seen this video, but it's basically about a secret player called 92Bob dominating the Trackmania United leaderboard, and nobody knew who it was. And the video was basically about getting behind who that player is, kinda. And yeah, now, over 1 year later, we have another video, which is this one. And we're gonna watch it right now, because yeah, I'm also a little bit deeper in the topic, because I also knew Riolu for a bit longer already. I was like close with him, not like close, but he was also part of the OK Boys, for example. So yeah, first of all, guys, make sure to watch the video yourself as well. Give it a like, give it a comment, support the video. I'm just giving my senf to this video, as we say in Germany. So we're going in.
One of the biggest voices in the Trackmania community, I often get asked to use my platform for the sake of good. On the Trackmania Reddit page, the user Slobodan Medara brought up that Wirtual could use his reach for something useful for once, and expose such toxic behavior. Toxicity in Trackmania is something to be talked about, and you could probably write a book about it by now.
28 downloads.
This user is unfortunately completely correct. There's been a lot of bad things happening that nobody is talking about, and it shouldn't be that way. Recently, I was approached with information that, if true, would challenge what everyone in Trackmania believes to be real.
By Arcus. Hey, Wirtual, I might have some information that very highly might lead to uncovering
a story so preposterous
that Riolu. I see Riolu.
Under the rug
that Riolu something.
Okay. But when I come across heavy information, I believe that players have a right to know what's been going on, and that I have.
This is not a joke. I'd love if you could help me approach this topic. Okay.
Responsibility.
He was approached by Arcus. Arcus also like
as a creator is and has always been to share my passion and enjoyment for Trackmania with you, and I will of course continue to do so. But please know before we dive deeper into this topic that this video is going to be very different from my other content.
That's crazy.
If you watch my channel for fun stories, this video is not going to be one.
Okay, video is not fun, guys.
The message I received was about the player Eddie Rising, a new talent in Trackmania Lagoon.
Oh, I know Eddie. Yeah, Eddie is like, he played Trackmania 2 Lagoon and Turbo, and he was like doing insanely good on like precision maps. I know him.
Last 2 years, climbed to rank 1 in the game. By many, he is seen as a player to be celebrated. But after researching this topic, I am no longer so sure. The message contained concerns that Eddie is,
in my honest belief, it's not
who he's claiming to be. The more I dug for evidence to support this claim, the more I was astounded by what I discovered. Not only was there proof that this is true, but it also seemed possible that Eddie could have pretended to be other people in the community, including this Slobodan Medara account on Reddit. The finds in this investigation have all pointed towards one player being behind the Eddie account, and that is Riolu, the biggest cheater in Trackmania history, and someone who hasn't had any communication with the community since 2021. This story is equal parts fascinating and unsettling, and uncovers some of the wildest behaviors I've ever seen on the internet. Fasten your seatbelts, everybody, because there is a lot to talk about.
I'm fastening my seatbelts.
This is the story of
so I know Eddie, but I don't know like about the Reddit stuff, and I don't know. Wait, does this have copyright, by the way? I hope not. The story of Trackmania's biggest con man. Con man meaning something like cheater, I got
Before we go on, I'd like to thank Arcus, Darklink, Lufok, Tomashu,
okay, so a lot of no names here. Big Bang, also big community person.
David. Players that, if it weren't for their help, this investigation would not have been possible.
No names
I would also like to say that this video is made with the main objective of informing the Trackmania community and documenting the events that have happened. Please do not attempt to contact or harass the players mentioned in this video. By publishing this information, we hope to achieve a better competitive environment in Trackmania, and any and all harassment would only counteract this effort. Thank you and enjoy. For those that don't know the backstory of Riolu, I will quickly go through it since it is important context for this video. In 2021, it was discovered that replay files in the game store the exact
this is from the original video, basically, when the entire cheating scandal started with Donut
made a tool to visualize these steering inputs. so players could better see how the best drivers had steered the car in their records. In most cases, this tool worked perfectly fine, but when it was used to display the inputs in records driven by Riolu, it would show inhumanly quick and jittery steering inputs. This eventually led to a huge
Guys, I cannot pause the video, otherwise we're gonna not make it until
all Trackmania games, and a detailed report later proved, along with admissions from some of the cheaters,
crazy times in
that records with these inhuman inputs had been achieved by driving in slow motion.
I mean, this was like the darkest time of Trackmania, sort of, with this cheating scandal and how massive it was, especially with Riolu as like one of the biggest streamer back then, being a cheater. But it was also the moment where Trackmania popped off the most, where Trackmania got like insane attention, where Trackmania 2020 popped off.
Slow down the game.
It was like the worst.
This cheating method was incredibly effective, as it allowed the cheaters to have superhuman precision
as well, so like
and
the top
reaction time
United players back
in a
game
were all about shaving off hundredths of a second.
Players who were dominating the leaderboard
for the longest time. It was completely undetectable.
Guys, what is this message in the chat? Hello, Granadi, it is me, Riolu. For years, I've been creating an illusion of people in the Trackmania community, but it was just me. Now I will write this message from all of my accounts.
Exposed in the report, Riolu was by far the most severe. He used Cheat Engine to set records in Trackmania United Forever, Trackmania Nations Forever.
Like, this was back in the days where Riolu and Wirtual were like
Stadium,
both
Lagoon,
like the biggest streamers
Trackmania
Turbo, both had like 2K viewers.
And recently it was discovered that he possibly cheated like in slow motion in Trackmania 2020 as well.
Crazy how massive
During his years of cheating, he completely dominated the leaderboards. At one point,
I remember, quick story time, very quick. I used to play a map called Trackmania United for like in Trackmania United Forever called Snow C1. And in Snow C1, on Snow C1, I tried to get the world record from Riolu, and I hunted the map for like 5 hours as a 14-year-old. I couldn't beat it, and I was chatting with Techno, who was also found to be cheating, and Techno knew that Riolu was also cheating while I was trying to beat Riolu. And Techno was like, yeah, come on, Granadi, you can beat him, push a little bit more. But Riolu was cheating and Techno was cheating. So I was in the cheater sandwich trying to beat the one cheater while getting advice from the other cheater. And I was like 14-year-old trying to get my first snowcar world record. And I got absolutely wrecked by both of them.
Simultaneously
held was so stupid. I remember that.
Out of 65 world records
was so dumb
in Trackmania 2 Canyon campaign. And later,
that's Snow B1, it is Snow
in
C1.
Trackmania Valley.
Snow
he
C1,
achieved
guys.
These feats while holding rank 1
I can even show
in
you the chat
United
at some
Forever.
point.
And in 2019, he managed to clean sweep Trackmania Turbo with 200 out of 200 world records on official maps at the same time.
Which many were cheated
in 2015, he was invited to drive strong official target times for the Super Trackmaster campaign in Trackmania Turbo.
Yeah, like apparently the video was gonna get insane.
Thought he was simply the GOAT, but as we would later learn, these accomplishments were all cheated, including the official target times.
That's the craziest thing in my opinion. He cheated Nadeo medals.
In total, it amounts to a decade of cheating from 2011 to 2020. And it's estimated that he set thousands of cheated records during this time, making him by far the biggest cheater in Trackmania history, if not in all of video games.
Honestly,
he was without a doubt also a good player. He proved that in live competitions and by setting world records on his live stream. But the most competitive and precise maps he would conveniently grind off stream. From 2015 to 2021, Riolu was building a career as a Trackmania live streamer, and by the time the cheating came to light, he had become rather successful.
That's also just crazy.
But when the report was about to be published, he had to face the sobering reality that 10 years of bad decisions were catching up to him. Rather than owning up to it and taking accountability,
oh my god, this stream, this stream. Guys, do you remember the Riolu exposure stream about Wirtual? I remember I even rated him beforehand and I was like, bro, show it to Wirtual. Show him what's up. Because I was like on Riolu's side kind of, because I didn't know shit. And Riolu was like in the OK boys. I was like in the DMs with him very often and stuff. And I was like, yeah, go show him, go do it. And then he gets like fucked left, right, and center. So Wirtual in the aftermath, I'm super sorry. I should have been on your side.
Bashed out in a now infamous
but that's just crazy. Like even like his friends,
for the duration of an hour,
had no clue
his
about
audience,
it.
Denied
so
ever having cheated, and called parts of the investigation a witch hunt and an attempt at blackmailing. All of this backfired when the report came out, and people got to see the inputs for themselves. And it left many with an even worse impression that Riolu had continued to try to lie to the bitter end.
I love how everybody is typing Riolu with a capital R. And I remember from back in the days, Riolu absolutely hated it when you typed Riolu with capital R. So in case Riolu is ever watching this reaction, can you all type Riolu with capital R in the chat? That would be very nice. That's just so funny because I know he would be triggered by this a lot.
Shortly after that stream, Riolu shut down his Discord server and presumably logged off all social media.
These were also crazy times, like how he just like
4 years.
How he just like disappeared from everything.
Happened, and Riolu hasn't been seen in Trackmania since. He never took any accountability for the cheating, and he never apologized. Most players thought he had decided to leave Trackmania behind.
As one day he will type
other things
in my chat,
life.
and it will be the moment
but
of
as we will discuss today,
in 2037, he will type one. What did he say?
But as we will, players thought he had decided to leave Trackmania behind and moved on to other things in his life. But as we will discuss today, that is not the case.
Okay, that sounds like a confirmation. The reason I'm bringing all of this up
is because the person that contacted me is Arcus, a leaderboard moderator for Trackmania Exchange. And Arcus had strong reasons to believe that Riolu was now playing under the name Eddie Rising. Trackmania Exchange hosts the main leaderboards used in Trackmania United forever.
The AO1
this
Eddie,
website stores millions of replay files of players' records dating all the way back to 2008. Replay files contain a great deal of information. As mentioned, they contain inputs, but they also tell you what in-game account any run was driven on. In Trackmania, game accounts are called
all
login.
in the replays that you like can save from your runs, or also the autosaves. All of this is saved basically. And this was also like, it was saved ever since 2003 basically, but only in 2021, 18 years after the entire thing started with Donadigo and who else, I don't know who else was working on it, discovering that all of this is stored there after 18 years.
A login cannot be changed after an account is created and has to be unique from all other players. Replay files also store information about the display name a player used. It tells you the name of the skin they used and the flag or avatar that they have selected.
I didn't know that it tells
There's more things too, but they aren't relevant for this video.
That's crazy.
Based on these identifiers, Arcus had legitimate reason to believe that Eddie Rising wasn't who he was claiming to be. And in November of 2024, he messaged Eddie on Discord with his findings. In a conversation we will take a look at later.
No way. If Eddie is actually Riolu and he got a message at some point, hey, Eddie, we have to talk about something, he probably had... Do you guys know this this Vietnam flashback picture meme with the guy with the army helmet? He was probably just like, oh nah, not again. Oh my god.
The final communication between the two is
Cup
that
of the day,
Arcus
we're not playing Cup of the day
record
today.
A voice message to prove his identity.
Unless it's a good map.
He didn't
guys, what is the Cup of the Day map? Is it anything interesting or not? Ice map, perfect,
being
perfect.
To
we're skipping Cup of the Day.
As if he was some sort of criminal. He said he would provide everything Arcus requested just to get this weird topic off the table. But shortly after sending these messages, he completely vanished. And Eddie hasn't been... Arcus asked...
Guys, is it actually Snowcar? Guys, if I open it now and it's not Snowcar, I'm gonna snap. It's not Snowcar, is it? Guys, stop trolling. We don't have time for this. Baited, it's not Snow. Fuck off. Fuck all of you. I'm gonna snap, guys. We don't have time for this. We need to finish the video until Cup of the Day. Hello. Man. Back to the video.
A conversation we will take a look at later. The final communication between the two is that Arcus had legitimate reason to believe that Eddie Rising wasn't who he was claiming to be. And in November of 2024, he messaged Eddie on Discord with his findings. In a conversation we will take a look at later. The final communication between the two is that Arcus asked Eddie to record a voice message to prove his identity, to which Eddie answered he didn't appreciate being talked to in a condescending way, as if he was some sort.
I do not appreciate the condescending tone you are using to talk to me. That is honestly something Riolu would say. This is like Riolu language. I'm not gonna lie.
Sort of criminal. He said he would provide everything Arcus requested just to get this weird topic off the table. But shortly after sending these messages, he completely vanished. And Eddie hasn't been seen in the game or on Discord for the last 3 months. As he was one of the best Lagoon players, it was odd for him to just leave without any notice. In January of 2023, Eddie made his first appearance in the Trackmania community when he published his first YouTube video, a 7th place in the world on the official track Coast B1. Based on the aforementioned identifiers, we know this record was driven on the login Pawnzor22. This track has over 30,000 players.
Riolu made a new account and he called himself Pawnzor.
Leaderboards. So setting a time in the top 10 is very respectable, especially for what seemed to be a brand new player.
Top 10 on the United
Over
map
the next weeks, Eddie continued to post records in Trackmania United. That went mostly...
Cursed Trackmania gameplay, cursed Trackmania gameplay.
unnoticed, as the tracks he competed on were rather obscure. But in April, he got inspired to play a different game, Trackmania 2 Lagoon, and his arrival on the leaderboards was impossible to miss. On the 29th of April, all the best Lagoon players were quite literally shocked when Eddie, on his first day of playing the game, managed to achieve 8 top 10 records in the world. And not only that, the maps he drove were the first 15 you encounter, and thus some of the most prestigious to hold the top records on. But Eddie made it seem effortless to climb as high as second place out of 15,000 players on each track he hunted, all in the same afternoon. A streak of records like this from an unknown player was completely unheard of, and top players felt it just cannot be possible to get was completely unheard of.
Maybe he really is just that good. It's kind of funny seeing Ender write this.
It just cannot be possible to get this good this quickly, since they themselves had spent years getting to their skill level. It was quickly assumed that Eddie had to be either a smurf or a cheater.
Toringer was also quick info. Toringer that people talk about.
It was quickly assumed that Eddie had to be either a smurf or a cheater. Eddie explained that he had some experience from playing Lagoon in Trackmania Turbo on console, and that the way he was able to achieve all the records was from rigorous practice beforehand. He said he would rebuild the map into several smaller sections to learn it more effectively, as well as comparing replays to analyze mistakes, saying he made very quick progress, as he just had to copy his muscle memory from practice maps to real ones. And evidently, this method worked because his runs were almost immediately the fastest in the world. He also live recorded all his runs and included footage of the gameplay sessions in his video, making it significantly harder to get away with cheating. The same day as the spree of records, Eddie joined several community servers on Discord, introducing himself to other players and attempting to put their doubts to rest. This is also where he shares the first details about himself and his life. Eddie says he lives in Kazakhstan, has a full-time job, and mentions having a wife and a baby boy on several occasions.
Very wild.
Over the summer of 2023, Eddie continued to set insane times. Out of 65 official tracks in the game, Eddie at the time held the world records on 19 of them. He accomplished this without even unlocking all the tracks yet, which you do by beating silver medal target times. These are ridiculously easy for someone driving at world record pace to unlock, but in 5 months of playing, he still hadn't unlocked them all. One time when asked why his display name looked so old school, Eddie explained that he had a background
in back in the days, like my cam is hiding it, but you see it, back in the days, the nicknames were always made with these like special letters, which just looked like the normal Latin, the normal letters, you know, like back in the days, like every single nickname looked like
2010. And by checking the online database Dailymania, they could see that Ponzor22 indeed had online records all the way back in 2009. His backstory checked out, and it added more credence to his skill. But to many players, something still seemed strange about him. Members of a Discord server that Eddie frequented said Eddie would often join their voice calls and watch other top players livestream their attempts, but he would personally never talk, always citing having his microphone muted in order to not—
Imagine you're just streaming on Discord, you're a hunting session, and suddenly you hear Riolu's voice, you're like, yeah, hello, I'm back.
not disturb his wife. Over the next year, Eddie continued to grind Lagoon, and slowly but surely became a trusted member of the community. And in the summer of 2024, Eddie decided to return to Trackmania United forever.
Type 1?
In the description of a video he uploaded on the 25th of July, he writes that he didn't like his old login, so he bought a new account. And from this point forward, he stops playing on Ponzor22 and makes Eddie A his new main account. In November of 2024, Arcus is browsing Trackmania Exchange profiles and stumbles upon the fact that Eddie uses 2 different logins. There isn't anything inherently wrong with having 2 accounts, but it could be a sign of account sharing or someone else driving records for you. Arcus was curious and searched the database to see if these logins showed up anywhere else on the site, and 3 replays from Ponzor22 appeared on an ancient profile, Ponzor. This profile hadn't been active since 2010. It had 4 records driven on the leaderboards, and 3 of them were driven in 2010. It had 4 records
SL7 Rosenkohl
driven on the leaderboards, and 3 of them were driven on Ponzor22, making it seem likely that this indeed was Eddie's old profile. But the fourth and final replay uploaded to the leaderboards.
Nine. It's Accelerator 01. Okay, wait, that's crazy. Accelerator 01 was Riolu's login. I remember that. Like back in the days, he was called Accelerator.
And on a different login.
I can see it already.
And not just any login.
Yeah.
It was driven on Accelerator 01.
Yeah.
Which happens to be the main account of Riolu.
Houston, we have a problem.
Houston, we have a problem.
This discovery is the reason why Arcus eventually approached Eddie in Discord.
Interesting.
When confronted about it, Eddie explained that the Ponsor22 in-game account was one he shared with a friend, and that he made Eddie A to have his own one. He says he never knew there was a TMX account with the same name, and whatever happened with it, he couldn't say. When asked why some replay files have the Germany flag when Eddie is from Kazakhstan, he says, "I can only guess it was one of the people I shared account with."
Am I watching in the background?
And when asked who these friends or people are, he was unable to name any names. And as mentioned earlier, when asked to voice chat or to record a voice message...
Why is he not like trying to lie? Like, also, if he asks like what kind of friends is it, why don't you just say, yeah, it's a friend from school I was cool with back in the days. Nowadays we lost contact because he went to a different university. Like, why would you say, I don't know. Like,
he didn't follow through.
Riolu
After this conversation, Eddie went inactive both on Discord and in-game, and hasn't been seen in the 3 months since.
Can't tell you,
it's
like,
weird to have a Riolu replay on a Trackmania Exchange profile linked to your in-game account, and to disappear just after being confronted about it, it's not enough to draw any conclusions from.
Yeah,
and in order to find out who Eddie is, we would have to dig deeper. In December of 2024, Arcus messaged me with all of this information, and together with a team of players, we have tried to examine all the available evidence. Over the years, there have been many crazy theories about Riolu's smurfing. Because of his swift disappearance, many found it hard to imagine he went from playing and live streaming the game every day to just immediately stopping. But all the theories so far have been completely wrong. The players Hobbit and Postito Paco have had claims against them of being Riolu's smurf, since they rapidly improved at the game around the time he went inactive.
I can tell you, Paco is real. I met him.
Clear
Paco is a real human being.
They couldn't be Riolu.
I don't know who Hobbit is,
but there's also the controversial 92 Bob account in Trackmania United Forever, a mysterious player that started achieving world records in June of 2021.
Yeah, that was for the 92 Bob video.
After the cheating was uncovered.
As well.
This account went from having 0 skill points to 165 million and achieving rank 1 on the leaderboards in just half a year of playing.
Still not
and the community
known who that
deemed
is,
it impossible for an unknown player to achieve such a feat, and figured it had to be a Smurf account. 92 Bob has been the most suspected Riolu Smurf account since the cheating scandal, but there's never been enough evidence to conclusively prove who it belongs to. In this video, I intend to leave no room for doubt, not just about who is behind the Eddie Rising account, but also 92 Bob. As with what we have discovered, we believe we have solved both mysteries. So let's start with the replays on Trackmania Exchange. When Riolu drove the run uploaded to Ponzor's profile, he was going for rank 1 in Trackmania United Forever. And in order to achieve that, you must obtain a lot of one particular resource, and that is coppers. The copper system is an antique part of Trackmania and not present in newer games. But back in the day, to compete on the in-game leaderboards, you had to pay 10 coppers per attempt in official mode. It is not possible to purchase coppers from Nadeo, but you receive 50 coppers for logging in each day. And you get 30 coppers each time you beat the gold medal on a track in official mode. This alone is hardly enough to sustain thousands of attempts at getting the best records. And many players don't bother with the in-game leaderboards for this reason. But for the players going for rank 1 in-game, it was essential to have a big bankroll of coppers to fund their grinding sessions, and farming copper competitions would have been a very important thing.
Yeah, people I know Techno once told me
the track where we found a Riolu replay on the Ponzor account
other accounts
so
to get
to
coppers
be
there
one
and
where the prize pool for the best times was 36,000 coppers. We decided to scan all of Trackmania Exchange for users that had Accelerator 01 replays uploaded, and we ended up finding 2 more profiles. One of them was Cyrox, which had a Riolu replay on the same track as Ponzor, uploaded within minutes of Ponzor and Riolu's main profile on the very same day. In total, Riolu received 8,000 coppers from this one competition.
Wait, did I miss something?
The run
Who's
on
Xerox?
Xerox's profile had also been driven with Riolu's display name at the time,
Okay.
and then been modified to Cyrox before it was uploaded.
Yeah.
There's also one other record on the Cyrox profile, and that one is driven on the login Hot Racer. This is also the login that Cyrox wants the coppers paid out to. Doing a lookup on the account Hot Racer shows that its current display name is Cyro.
Yeah,
and downloading all the available replays from the in-game leaderboards shows it has used the nickname Camip as well. This closely matches the fourth and final TMX profile that has Riolu replays on it, Ionex. Interestingly, we find that several of the thumbnails on maps uploaded by this user has the signature Cyro written on them. This user has 15 replays uploaded, and 13 of them are driven on the login xSamir. One is on the login CrashZor, and the final replay is on Accelerator01.
Bro, what the fuck?
In the 13 replays driven on xSamir,
had like 20 accounts?
The nickname Cyro is used 10 times, and Camip is used twice as well, closely linking xSamir and Hot Racer together. We also realized we were on the right track when we found a cheated run on the xSamir account, uploaded in May of 2011 to the track 3 Strange Days. This run was likely driven in slow motion and displays the same jittery inputs that can be seen in Riolu's runs from the cheating report. The xSamir account went inactive in 2011 and remained that way for many years, until in 2017 it reappeared in a competition called the True Talent Cup. In an old video of this competition from Trackmania streamer Spammy, we can see that xSamir, or Absol as the display name, is competing and setting times so impressive that others in the voice call are surprised.
What the fuck?
Dude, Absol, who the hell is this guy? I have no idea who is that guy.
Since Riolu was considered the best United player in the world at the time, many had high expectations to see him compete, but unfortunately he showed up too late to compete and was only able to watch Spam's stream. Riolu appeared in Spam's Twitch chat just after the mentions of Absol, and then continued to chat throughout the entire tournament. But if you pay attention to when he sends the messages, it is only between competition rounds. Because as we now know, he was the one playing as Absol undercover in this tournament. In 2018, the xSamir account would take on a new identity, and we would officially get it confirmed that this account used to belong to Riolu. Because that is also when Riolu gave this account to his friend Lars.
Wait, Lars! Wait, what? Hello? Stop, what?
To belong to Riolu. Because that is also when Riolu gave this account to his friend Lars.
Hey, Lars!
So Lars could participate in other Trackmania United competitions.
Yeah, hello, my name is Lars!
Riolu also cheated more than the one replay we discovered on this account.
Lol.
Because when Nadeo scanned the leaderboards for cheated runs in July of 2021, xSamir was detected to have 19 cheated runs, resulting in the account getting banned. If you now try to enter the login details Lars was given, you will be presented with this notice. With xSamir confirmed to be Riolu's account, it likely confirms Hot Racer by proxy, as it has had the same display name multiple times. But now let's take a look at the third login seen on the profile Ionex, and see where that fits into the puzzle.
So like all accounts
the meta stats for this login showed it was driving in the same zone as Riolu, in Dortmund, Germany. And a Google search of the display name.
No, it is like, it's not a different account, but it's also not like that Lars is like a cheater now. No, guys, like he just used a different account. Like back in the days, there was like no real rules about that.
Leandagu reveals that in 2015, someone suspected an account with the same name of cheating in Trackmania 2 Valley. These threads are the only time Riolu used the Dadimania forums, and he used them to defend the legitimacy of CrashZor or Leandagu's runs. CrashZor also ended up banned in Trackmania United forever when the records were purged, having 16 cheated records in official mode. And interestingly, by analyzing surviving records from this account in Canyon, we can determine that it cheated with Cheat Engine, as the inputs are clearly inhuman there as well. CrashZor also had a few online records that survived the purge, and perhaps most interesting is that the account goes inactive for around 3 years, from November 2016 until the 17th of April 2020. It then returns to play a few rounds online on the server Alpina Public, and by some miracle, only 2 hours after CrashZor's return to the game, Riolu decides to play on the same server on his livestream. After half a year of online inactivity, on his main Trackmania United account. The final account we discovered is Buzzkill22. Not only does this login have the same name suffix as Ponzor, but it also exists on the Dortmund leaderboards, and by downloading the replays from the account, we can see it uses the very same nickname as Eddie, strongly indicating that these accounts are owned by the same person.
It's all like
both of the accounts also have slow motion runs on them, though they are insignificant and likely ancient records. Every profile on Trackmania Exchange that has a Riolu replay uploaded links back to him in clear patterns. And rather than being a very long list of coincidences, we see it most likely that all these logins belong to Riolu. It might seem bizarre to have this many accounts in the game, as you would hardly find time to play on all of them. But once you see it through the lens of copper farming, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, like I know, like
if you buy a fresh account and beat the gold medal on every track available in the campaign, it can net you over 12,000 coppers, as well as increasing your daily gains by 50. Another strategy used by players is to buy a previously owned account.
I remember he told me
these can often be found for cheaper on eBay and could have a treasure trove of unused coppers, as described here by the player Techno, who is notorious for having around 50 accounts in Trackmania United Forever, and has managed to accrue over 3 million coppers this way. Anyway, if these other logins belong to Riolu over the years, then it is very likely that Ponzor22 now does as well. But let's remember that a lot can happen in 14 years. In the same way that Riolu gave the Examir account to Lars could have passed that account on to someone else. And though Riolu matches the profile of knowledge and skill needed to be Fake Eddie, it is still technically possible that someone else could have gotten this account. The most satisfying answer to a mystery is one that leaves no room for doubt or speculation. And in order to achieve that, we have to analyze more replays.
But this was crazy though, like, so there's like
in the next phase of the investigation, we scanned all available replays on the official in-game ladder. To do this, we got the help of Trackmania genius Tomashu. After downloading all replays from logins related to Riolu, Tomashu crucially realized that records driven in official mode actually have a date and timestamp of when they were registered on Nadeo servers. Something that nobody in the community knew up until then.
Not when they were uploaded,
Another important detail is that if a player had downloaded the competitive patch, information about which specific input device they used would be saved in the replay file. This was commonplace knowledge, but it was previously thought that once a record is submitted to Nadeo servers, this information would no longer be written into the replay file. But Tomashu discovered it's actually still there. These two data points could be used to identify patterns between several logins. And since nobody knew this information existed, they never thought to shield themselves against it. One question that came up frequently in the investigation was, if Riolu is Fake Eddie, then who on earth is 92Bob?
Yeah, that's what I want to know as well.
It seemed unlikely that Riolu would find the time to smurf on several accounts at the same time.
He played like on...
But the timeline of known activity from 92Bob and Fake Eddie lined up surprisingly well. 92Bob first appears just after the cheating scandal, and remains active from June 2021 until December 2022. At that point, the account had reached 200 million points and stopped playing. Shortly after, in January of 2023, Fake Eddie posts his first YouTube video and proceeds to stay active until October 2024, where he drove his last known record in Trackmania Lagoon. And 1 week later, 92Bob returned to Trackmania United Forever. Though the investigation was originally focused on Eddie, these new data points made us take a much closer look at 92Bob as well. When we compared the timestamps of activity between the logins we knew Eddie had access to and 92Bob, an unbelievable pattern emerged. It starts on the 25th of September 2021, when Buzzkill becomes active again after almost 10 years of inactivity, and rapidly starts setting records.
Okay, after 10 years.
When looking at how much time passes between each record, it's sometimes as little as only 30 seconds.
Yeah, as if he knows
making it clear that the player could only be doing one thing: farming coppers by beating gold medals. And shortly after this streak of records from Buzzkill concludes,
he sends the coppers to 92Bob
personal best. On the 24th of
uses
October,
the coppers to drive
the same thing
official
happens.
times.
On the 31st of October, the same thing happens.
Yeah.
Shortly after these personal bests from Bob, the Ponzor22 account becomes active again as well, and farms coppers in the same way for 3 hours. and after the harvest, Bob again sets a new personal best. This pattern of the stolen Eddie accounts farming coppers and Bob setting a new PB can be seen again and again throughout the end of 2021.
Always like going to the Smurf accounts or like the other accounts, farming coppers, sending it to main account, driving official times there, and then the repeat basically.
Have started using the competitive patch, which contains data about the input device used. And wouldn't you know it, they also use the same controller.
Yeah.
The way this data is saved is by looking at the vendor ID and product ID of the USB devices connected to the game.
Like how crazy are replay files
actually? When looking at the vendor ID that appears in Eddie and 92 Bob's replays, it shows he's using a controller from Big Ben Interactive Limited. Looking at the Wikipedia page of this company shows that Big Ben has rebranded to Nakon. On the 8th of March 2021, Riolu posted about receiving the asymmetric wireless controller on Twitter, as Nakon were one of the main sponsors of his esports organization. To figure out if this was the controller with the same product ID as we see in 92 Bob and Fake Eddie's replays,
I thought he was still using the Xbox Elite Series Pro,
sure
how it's
to get
called.
One with the same packaging. I plugged it in and drove a replay, and wouldn't you know it, it has the same product ID. Vendor
Get Nakon, he lost his
product
sponsor.
609. If both logins were using a standard Xbox or PS5 controller, it would be easy to write this off.
I mean, Nakon is also a very specific one.
Like,
what the fuck is Nakon?
And seeing
yeah, like,
both these
who
logins
uses a Nakon controller? I've never heard that before.
Same day, 10 minutes apart
Nakon,
with the same controller is very suspect.
Yeah, that's very unlikely.
When looking at the timestamps, we also assumed that when there were gaps in the data, Bob was likely farming coppers via other accounts, and we came up with a smart way of identifying them. You see, there is one more way of gaining
imagine
coppers in
Riolu watching this video,
forever, and that is by logging
like,
to the Mania
everything
Zone
is
forums
called
once
again,
a week.
and
this gives you a bonus.
just imagine you are Riolu and you're watching this.
Since the profile page of each player has a timestamp for when they register on the forums and when their last sign-in was.
Riolu's watching. Maybe Riolu's watching right now. Riolu, type 1 in chat. Come on, like now you have been caught either way. If you type 1 in the chat now,
the imposter made this
I will maybe forgive you the Snow C1 incident 10 years ago. If you type 1 now, Riolu, I will forgive you that I had to spend my time trying to beat your cheated record.
Most of the accounts minutes apart on the same day. On the 17th of August 2024, we see the Eddie accounts, Ponzor and Buskill, register on the site,
disappear right after.
preceded and followed by a horde of accounts in the same 5 minutes. Keep in mind that activity on these forums is completely dead, and I want to be exceptionally clear that a series of logins in last active timestamps matching this closely several weeks in a row doesn't happen by accident. The imposter was a bit more careful with 92 Bob, as that account doesn't register on the forums till the 10th of October. But Bob's recent sign-ins match exactly with some of the accounts spotted earlier. We now had a list of 15 accounts, all logging in at the same time on the forums to collect coppers and using the same controller that we know Riolu has. If having one identical controller wasn't rare enough, Fake Eddie and 92 Bob and 2 other copper smurfs can be seen with 2 matching controllers connected. The Nakon controller and an Xbox 360 controller, both plugged into the PC when their records were set. Bob, Joe Urch, and Ludosblood did this a few hours apart, whereas the Fake Eddie ones with this combination happened a few months earlier. Another strange account on this new list was Graphics72, since this is an account that Techno had told me earlier
had like
used to belong to him. I decided to contact Techno about it, and interestingly, Techno said he at one point gave the password of Graphics72 to Riolu in order to smurf online together. And when he tried to connect to it now, he no longer had access to it. Logging in just one time on someone's account in Trackmania United Forever is enough to be able to
Techno
hijack
helping.
It, as you can change the email address
even though
on the profile
Techno
page,
was also a huge cheater, same as Riolu, just that he wasn't a streamer.
Sent to your new email address
it's good to
without
see him
any
helping with
two-factor confirmation from the old email. Techno was able to confirm through his backups
I'm still
that
gonna
he
be
had
shocked.
the password to Graphics
Don't tell me Techno is Riolu.
until early 2020 at least.
If later comes out Techno is Riolu, I'm gonna
then
completely
and now.
snap.
But apart from just using these accounts to farm coppers, another pattern that emerged is that these accounts would all routinely flood specific leaderboards with records. Sometimes it was just doing one run on each account,
that would be crazy.
minutes apart. Other times it was an attempt at taking over the top 10
I lost the ball of the accounts
with as many accounts as possible.
What the fuck?
Doing this completely ruins the competition on those tracks, and it got several people in the community to wonder who was doing all of this. Many wrongly assumed at the time that these accounts belonged to BlackQ, a notorious troll in Trackmania United. BlackQ said he had no knowledge of these accounts,
such a weird guy.
and BlackQ is confirmed not to
so
be
good
92
in the game,
Bob.
but like
He did, however, pretend to be 92
we're
Bob
a bit
at
more
one
than
point
halfway.
as an attempt at getting a Nadeo employee to delete all of 92 Bob's records.
That was part of the 92 Bob
but
video.
he was unable to show he had ownership of the account, and thus nothing happened to Bob's records. This story is corroborated from the Nadeo employee.
Like you kind of tried
After
to
much
dox
frustration
Riolu
with
back in
Bob
the
being
days.
anonymous, he also notoriously and reprehensibly tried to figure out 92 Bob's location by sending him an IP address grabber, disguised as a YouTube link via the in-game mail system. But fortunately, Bob never clicked on the link. This action was a stretch too far and has been shunned by the entire community.
Virtual is like
but it also serves as great proof that
this was part of the 92 Bob video, and it got kind of
hell-bent on figuring
like
out
the video
Bob's
got disliked a lot because of
themselves
exactly
be
that.
behind the account.
It's good that he's like
Before you get your tinfoil
rewording
hat on,
that
analysis
because
of
in that video he
BlackQ's
didn't say that
has
it was
also
like
shown he uses a
bad thing to
different
do.
controller. He has live streamed himself playing at the same time as Bob has achieved
he's also
records,
still hunting
and he doesn't have
records.
any link to any of the copper farming accounts. So no. Out of the accounts that have been flooding the leaderboards, the strangest of them is General Cool. On the 12th of January 2022, this account started playing official mode, both farming coppers and also setting very strong times on select tracks. Once you set a record in the top 10, your display name in-game is shown to everyone. The inexplicable thing about General Cool is that the display name this account was using was the full real name of the player Misu, and whoever was doing this was essentially doxing him for no apparent reason. Misu's real name was not known in the community, only by his closest friends that he had added on Facebook, and he couldn't understand why any of them would do something like this.
I was in a clan with him back in the days.
Other players were also lost for reasons why anyone would do this. At the time, it was wrongly assumed that the player behind these accounts was, again, BlackQ, since he would often try to troll Misu.
BlackQ was a troll as well.
BlackQ did things like driving records with an exact copy of Misu's in-game display name, causing a lot of confusion. So it wasn't unthinkable that General Cool could be him. But in April of 2022, BlackQ felt sorry for trolling the community and requested that Nadeo delete all the records on the accounts he
had an account called Dr. Sins.
Nadeo followed through and deleted all the records
this
from
entire
several
Trackmania scene
logins,
is so XCD.
like the logins Nevria, Bella Machina,
I cannot pause Senka, otherwise we will not finish.
The General Cool account was never purged. In 2023,
you guys missed some parts, check out the original video.
Requested General Cool's removal, BlackQ said it was because the account wasn't his. Misu says, "Who else would dox me on this random map?" To which BlackQ responds, "I have my limits, dude. Trolling, sure, but not doxing and shit."
Yeah, he tried to dox 92 Bob, didn't he?
We actually know it wasn't BlackQ. The evidence points to that whoever is behind the fake Eddie account,
he was exactly trying to dox him,
and Ponzor22, is likely the one who doxed Misu. On the 3rd of April 2022, the General Cool account can be seen in a cluster playing the exact same map as Buzzkill22 and the other copper farming accounts, only minutes apart on the same controller. The same thing also happened 1 month earlier, in March of 2022 on the track
all of these
Post
accounts,
C4.
man, what the
Here General Cool is playing in the same cluster as Ponzor22, where all of the accounts set records minutes apart from one another. This incident is before any of the accounts used a competitive patch, so we do not have any controller data for that streak. But the same thing happens 2 years later, in September of 2024, when General Cool, together with Buzzkill and many of the other copper farming accounts, drive one run after another on AO8 Endurance.
Like 1, 2, 3 minutes apart.
On the same knock-on controller. General Cool's first registration on the Mania Zone forums happens 4 minutes and 5 seconds after Ponzor, and 2 minutes and 56 seconds after Buzzkill. And his most recent sign-in at the time of making this video happens on the 30th of January, which is 1 minute and 36 seconds after Buzzkill22's most recent sign-in. On the 30th of January, we also see several other accounts log in within the same 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that's not like coincidence. If it's like always the same accounts, always close to each other, like the chance that it's like coincidence is like
their sign-up dates match within minutes of Ponzor, Buzzkill, and the lot, and their last active timestamp matched within minutes of 92 Bob on the 5th of January. As mentioned earlier, Techno doesn't have access to the graphics account anymore, and when asked about this specific forum sign-in, he said it wasn't him. To try to claim that all these things are a coincidence would be foolish. We can, based on all these factors, conclude that the person who is behind the fake Eddie account and the 92Bob account
Why is this run in the background so bad, by the way? That hurts my snowcar player eyes.
Of the general cool account.
Wirtual, could you have not used a better run?
By these accounts
that hurts my. Oh my god, full landing back! Oh, I have to pause. Look at this, he's going straight down here, landing back, 0 exit speed. Ah, that gives me the biggest headache of the video. Ah, Wirtual, why? It triggers me like crazy.
In April
Holy shit, that was bad.
When it comes to establishing exactly
Wirtual, I could have recorded you a better run, man.
What
was that?
In January of 2022, I cannot say for sure.
Okay, anyway.
Especially since doxing is considered a crime, and I don't want to open myself up to a defamation lawsuit. With that being said,
it's like my nightmares.
If we were to entertain a scenario, what hypothetical reasons could Riolu have to dox Misu? Well, shortly after the cheating scandal in 2021, Misu changed his profile picture on Twitter to a picture of Riolu.
He still has that, by the way. He still has that
picture ever since.
He still has that.
On the 30th of July 2021, he posted what, at a glance, could look like a longer apology.
This was the weird ass move, to be honest. This was the weird ass move.
And in December of 2021, only weeks before the doxing happened, Misu also posted on Twitter expressing a dislike for Riolu. But that's just one of many possible scenarios, I'm sure.
Bro, like some of these United players are so
available. And they should be able to figure out who the doxer is by checking the hardware ID of the account. Hardware IDs are like the serial numbers of your computer and uniquely identifies your exact computer to the game. The doxer, without a doubt, has other active accounts in the community, since nobody joins a game and is casually able to drive top 10 times. While at the same time,
you gotta understand, like, United maps are also hunted like crazy. Like, you just don't drive top 10 like easily.
At the time against other accounts, Nadeo should be able to conclusively prove who the doxer is. And I hope they take this as seriously as it should be taken, as this relates to every Trackmania player's online safety. That strange incident aside, the final piece of information we could gather from these new accounts was the car skins they used. All replays in Trackmania contain the file name of the car skin that was used in the record. Even if the skin might not load for you, it is still saved as a name in the replay file.
Replay files are
Digging
so
deep
crazy,
into the archives, we found a Twitch stream from Riolu where he is playing Trackmania United Forever in 2020 and browsing through the pages of his car skins. From the skins that can be seen, many are default ones. Others are very popular ones that can be downloaded on a website called Mania Park. But he also has some very rare skins. Skins that there are no publicly known downloads for. We wrote down the names of all the visible skins from that stream and then compared them to the file names we can see in the replays. On 92Bob, he is exceptionally careful to only drive with skins that are available by default. But on the Smurf account, he is far more careless and uses many of the very same skins we saw Riolu had locally downloaded. For example, Ludoslud, the account with the same forum sign and timestamp as 92Bob, used the skin Bay Technoface. When asking Techno about this, he said he created the skin in 2011 and shared them with a couple of friends at the time.
Why is he even
changing skins? This is a skin Riolu had in 2020, but there has not been a public available download for it in well over a decade.
And also
the other most interesting find is the One Alpine car skins. The special thing about these is that they were initially created for a snow car mod in Trackmania 2. After Riolu played this mod and liked the skins, he personally requested Florentius, the skin creator, to make them compatible with Trackmania
now, make it
forever. Florentius never shared the skins with anyone else, so the only way someone else than Riolu could have gotten them is if Riolu sent the link to them. 6 out of the copper farming accounts we discovered are using these One Alpine skins. It is of course very curious that during the time General Cool was actively doxing Misu, he was setting some records with the One Alpine Rainbolt skin. But there's one final detail we discovered that completely seals the case beyond any and all doubt. And it is the fact that Eddie Rising is a real person. You see, when we took a closer look at the Buzzkill22 account, we discovered another login closely related to it, Gabriel996. This account built several tracks together with Buzzkill and uploaded them to a Trackmania Exchange profile. The email address registered on this Trackmania Exchange profile crucially had Gabriel's full name written. With this information, I contacted Gabriel on social media, and via his friends list, I found the actual Eddie Rising. I sent them both a shot in the dark message, and to my surprise, both answered. Up until this point,
Virtual
it had been
FBI
assumed
agent,
that
yeah.
Eddie Rising was a completely fabricated identity. But after my first few messages with him, it became clear that the reality was much more disturbing. Real Eddie's English isn't the best, but he said his in-game name in Trackmania used to be Ponzor, and confirmed it was his account after seeing a screenshot with the colors. I asked him what he knew about Accelerator01, Riolu's Trackmania account that drove a run uploaded to his profile.
Wait, now I'm
And
confused.
to my disbelief, he said he's known Riolu since they were kids. Eddie said they hadn't spoken much after he quit Trackmania around 2010,
What the fuck?
but that back in the day, him and Riolu used to do parkour together daily.
Jeden Tag Parkour gemacht, Salto geübt und wenn scheiß Wetter war oder abends über Walkie-Talkie gequatscht und gezockt.
And when the weather was
a
bad, they would
What?
talk on walkie-talkies and play games together. He said
Wait,
Riolu
Eddie
is the one
is
who
an
introduced
old
him to
real-life
Trackmania,
friend
and they
of
built several
Riolu?
maps together. He said it was possible Riolu had driven some of the runs on his account,
Wait,
and
what
called
the
one of the
fuck?
runs shown to him
Okay, I didn't
too
expect
good to have
that.
been driven by himself.
What the hell?
Most importantly, Eddie confirmed that Eddie A was not him, meaning that whoever was using his
Bro, he
account
just
and
took
his
the
name now
identity
was
from one of his
impersonating
old
him,
friends in
without
Trackmania?
Eddie's knowledge or
Bro,
consent.
what the fuck?
The real Eddie did claim ownership of Ponzor22 and Buskill22, and Gabriel could corroborate
He
this
just
in
took
my
over the
conversation with
accounts.
him. Gabriel said Eddie
Rather
was one of
what?
his school friends. He said he had played Trackmania in real life with Riolu as well, but that he hadn't seen him for about 15 years. Gabriel said that him and Eddie both at one point logged into Riolu's PC, and that, quote,
And from
we
that he
definitely
stole
drove time races because Riolu was very good and could help us. Gabriel also said Eddie and Riolu used to be neighbors, and elaborated on having times driven for him.
Headache
and
status?
thus
Yeah,
giving
also
Riolu
now I'm
access
confused.
to
I
the
didn't
accounts.
expect that.
This discovery was truly shocking
What
to
the
me.
fuck?
With this, the entire Eddie Rising identity in Trackmania
So Eddie
can
is an actual
conclusively
guy
be called
and
fake.
Virtual just
Something
took...
that we already
not Virtual,
suspected,
what?
but not in a
Riolu.
million years
What?
did I expect it to be based on the identity of
Yeah,
a
that's
real
crazy.
person, and much less a childhood friend of Riolu, who Riolu introduced to
There's still
Trackmania.
15 minutes left, what the fuck?
After analyzing all available data from all of these different sources, the cold hard evidence all points in one direction. It is no coincidence that all of these logins use the same niche controller Riolu was given by a sponsor. It is no coincidence that the timestamps of
I
records
need
driven by these
paracetamol
accounts
after this, yeah.
match up so closely.
Yeah, this
That
is
the
there's no way
Mania
this
Zone
can be-
registration date and last active dates between them
Way
match
too many
up perfectly,
coincidences.
and that many of the accounts use the same rare skins as we see on Riolu's PC. And
It's
when
really good that this
combined with
video
the
is
fact
so
that
in
whoever is
detail
behind
and
the
so
fake
in
Eddie
depth.
account must know certain
In general,
things
like, a
about
really
the
good
real
video.
Eddie, and that it just so happens that the real Eddie and Riolu were childhood
How
friends.
crazy is it that he
playing
just found
Trackmania
the real
together,
Eddie on
that it
Instagram
just so
or wherever
happens
that
that the
was?
real Eddie has logged into his Trackmania accounts on Riolu's computer, and the fact that whoever is fake
Bro.
Eddie and 92bob must one, be a
PPR.
world-class player, but two, have some reason to play anonymously. We believe all in all,
Yeah, and everything is like
exhaustively proves
proven, yeah.
beyond any reasonable doubt.
Okay, but why is there
that
still
the
15
person
minutes
behind
left?
fake Eddie, 92bob, and all of the following accounts is Riolu. I'm sorry if you feel it has taken way too long in this video for me to say that, but I didn't want to leave any room for
Oh,
doubt
Bruder.
and to leave
Kamogos,
any
thank you very much
stone
for the 2 month
unturned.
resub, man.
I
Appreciate
thought
it.
it's better to present all the available evidence
Just wait.
rather than jumping to that conclusion
Clueless?
prematurely.
Oh my God. What is coming up
I
now?
would urge
Like,
Nadeo to
also the
verify
real
these
life
findings
story
by
really caught me.
themselves by checking
Like
identifying
multi-accounting,
information I
okay,
do not have access
farming
to,
coppers,
such as the
okay,
hardware ID of
but
these
that one of
accounts.
his real life friends from
But I
20
suspect
years
that
ago.
Nadeo already knows most of these things.
What?
They at least know the identity of 92bob
Yeah,
since
that was
late
sad.
2021, and have chosen not to share it with the community. Only stating that since 92bob's records are legitimate, they will allow him to compete on the leaderboards. The earliest 92bob
They
records
knew
we have
that it's Riolu
documented were
then.
driven in June of 2021, only 1 month after Riolu was exposed for cheating. My main goal with making this video has been to present all the information we discovered to the community.
And Nadeo should
But
have
while
leaked
doing
it,
so, I also want to interject my own opinion here,
Scheiße.
that I personally think allowing Riolu to immediately return to competing after 10 years of cheating with no suspension is disgraceful.
That's honestly
Especially
true.
to all the Trackmania players that have put great effort and pride towards their legitimate accomplishments. I don't necessarily think
Hello,
Riolu
put that
has to
away,
receive
show
a
the
permanent
chat.
ban,
What is
giving
this?
no punishment at all apart from having to create a new account really makes it seem like they don't care for the leaderboards.
Honestly, yes. Like
Especially
also
when he
the fact
cheated
that
on a scale that affected
Nadeo knew it
every
was Riolu
leaderboard
and
in
they just
every
didn't
major
really care about
Trackmania
it is
in the
what the
last
fuck?
18 years. It's been close to 4 years since the cheating scandal, and not once in those 1300 days has he taken just 1 day to apologize. Instead of taking the time to make one apology video, he has found the time to make 65 trackmania videos on the fake Eddie YouTube account. And instead of writing one apology to the community, he has written hundreds of YouTube comments on the fake Eddie YouTube account, while also infiltrating communities on Trackmania United and in Trackmania Lagoon under a new name.
Was never on my Discord.
Before we go on, I want to make it clear that the actual investigation part of the video is finished. The next portion is merely an opportunity I'm going to use to talk about the toxicity that is plaguing Trackmania. When trying to figure out if Riolu was driving on the Eddie account, we looked at all the comments written by fake Eddie on YouTube.
This amount of work,
and it has led to some peculiar findings.
Bro, how long have Wirtual, if you're still here, how long did you work on this video?
That would write comments on the same Trackmania videos as Eddie, sometimes only minutes apart. Videos on niche channels that only receive a couple of hundred views per
December
video.
the 20th. Okay, that's actually not as long as I thought.
Accounts all interact
but I guess
in
then
the same
3 months
threads,
of full
they use the same language, they have a strong dislike for the same
time.
players, and they reply to comments on old Riolu videos, shutting down people who mock his cheated record.
I need to pause though, I need to read this.
They have a strong dislike for the same
players,
donut,
he called someone.
And they reply to comments on old Riolu videos, shutting down people who mock.
Transfer all driven online. Get your facts straight before commenting, bro. Now he was shutting down others with other accounts.
On the list of accounts, you might recognize some of the names. We have Slobodan Medaradonovic, Swag, Cyro, and a username I'll only be pronouncing as Urine. These accounts have left over 1,000 total comments on Trackmania videos in the last 4 years. And it is far too much data to analyze.
You know this one meme where it says, "Oh no,
nor is it the actual point of this video."
That's
but
what
I'll share some short
right
details about each account and how they link back to the imposter.
That is crazy.
Starting with Cyro, I mentioned a very similar username earlier on in the video, in the spiderweb of accounts associated with Riolu. On the following YouTube channels, Cyro has written 5 comments.
Hey,
and 3 of them are within one.
Okay, now I wanna know, what did he write on my YouTube channel?
And 3 of them
Wait, how can I find it out? How can I find it out? Guys, how can I find it out? Look it up, I don't know how.
Channel.
I don't know.
One of them in particular is a rather depressing comment, and as you'll see later, this is unfortunately a pattern.
Okay. Someone has news about Riolu, and then Riolu answered himself. There are rumors that he committed suicide. About himself. What the fuck? Bro, what is wrong with this guy? Wait, what is this link? This was funny until the slow-mo poke. Is that you, Riolu? Slobodan Medada. Ah, bro, what is happening? Hilfe. How can I look that up, though? Guys, I need to look that up at some point.
Be seen as a user in Trackmania Discord servers, where he most actively discusses 92Bob and Nico. As a last anecdote, when I asked Nico if he knew anything about the Cyro98 account, he told me he used to suspect that it's Bob. Nico would often stream himself grinding tracks in Discord, and Cyro would watch, muted in the voice call. Anytime Nico set a world record, Bob would contest them quickly afterwards. But as Nico says, perhaps it's just a coincidence. Next up is Slobodan Medaradonovic. The first time I heard about this account was because Nico messaged me and said he'd repeatedly been sent hateful comments by them. And from what I've seen, this account is one of the most toxic in the entire community. Normally, I wouldn't bother wasting my own energy or yours on an anonymous hate account like this.
Oh my god,
but since it is specifically Slobodan Medara who wrote the comments
so that's the account as
well. At the beginning, telling me to use my platform
this is so cringe. What the fuck?
I figure it is warranted to take a look at some of the things he said.
That is next level embarrassing.
Slobodan Medara has the same activity patterns
as Cyro. It's just a new level of embarrassing.
Writing YouTube comments minutes apart from fake Eddie several times. This account has gone out of their way to reply to comments on ancient Riolu videos 9 times, shutting down comments that make fun of Riolu for cheating. And like Cyro, Slobodan Medara is also very pessimistic about Riolu's whereabouts.
Bro, like this makes it think that Riolu has like some serious mental issues.
Noticed that the Slobodan Medara Reddit account had 2 posts from 2013 where Slobodan shared videos from Riolu's YouTube channel. But these posts have since been deleted. After messaging him about it, he was able to track them down. On the 13th of June 2013, Slobodan shared the video of Riolu's world record on Canyon AO1 on the r/gaming subreddit.
Ah, you
and
shared his own video.
He shared a video of Riolu's world record on Valley AO1 on r/gaming videos. Slobodan also
different
left.
Image? Wait. Eddie Rising, Granadi, you should hunt some Trackmania United forever again for nostalgia. Yeah, hello, I'm sorry, Riolu, I got other stuff to do.
2 now deleted comments on the
I have to decline,
post,
I'm sorry.
urging those
I'm
who
sorry,
saw it to subscribe to Riolu's channel. It is of course possible that Slobodan was a super fan of Riolu and wanted more people to see his fantastic channel. But then one might
He's my fan, guys.
He
hates on everyone, and me he wants to return. Oh.
Slobodan's comments on Reddit after the cheating scandal are often about 92Bob, and as Puchus noticed, predominantly about defending Riolu in several instances. And when I made my video about 92Bob last year, Slobodan wrote a grand total of 56 comments.
56.
It is first one streak of 15 comments on the day the video was posted.
Oh my god,
before returning one evening,
he commented with that account
later,
on Virtual's video trying to defend himself with another account.
In a Reddit post Slobodan wrote on the 27th of May, he argued that Black Q should be permanently banned from the game, stating in his post that, quote, "In my opinion, he should be banished forever and none of his records, legit or not, should be uploaded anywhere.
I think I even saw that
Black
post
Q has had enough chances to redeem himself within the community and has spat on every chance he received sooner or later. The community should stop welcoming such individuals that are not contributing anything but a nothing burger. I believe this sends a really bad signal to players within the community, but also the people outside of the Trackmania bubble. Certain lines simply shouldn't be crossed, and patterns of behavior shouldn't be enabled.
Like, you could remove Black Q with Riolu and it would be the exact,
not the only ever in Trackmania existence who deserves such a treatment. In order to avoid a lawsuit, which Slobodan did threaten in one of his comments, I will state it clearly that we don't know who is making the comments on the Slobodan Medora accounts. But hypothetically, if it does turn out to be Riolu, then I wonder if he would extend that line of thinking in the post to himself as well. Or if this line of logic only applies to those who wronged him and not those he himself wronged. The last thing I'll say about this is that there just so happens to be a post in 2015 on the Cheat Engine forums from a user with the same exact username. The post reads, "Hey, I've stumbled across a little game on Uplay which I was trying to mod with Cheat Engine for single player purposes only.
Yeah, hello, single player purposes
I obviously have to hook the process to Cheat Engine, so I'm wondering if Uplay or Steam might get behind it. If they recognize it and flag my account for hooking third-party tools to the game.
No way, little bro.
Any information on that?
Thanks in
advance. Of this post as it relates to Trackmania is peculiar. Any information on that?
How do I cheat?
The timing of this post as it relates to Trackmania is peculiar. Since
how
just
do
2
I
weeks
cheat? He
earlier,
made a post on Cheat Engine forum. How do I cheat?
Ubisoft Nadeo unveiled their new game at E3.
Oh my god,
a Trackmania title that as a PC player would only be available on Uplay.
That was before TM Turbo.
Responses he was given, he says, "Thankfully, it's not a Valve game, so I'll give it a try soon."
Yeah, he did.
Make of that what you will. We have talked a lot about the YouTube comments now, and I don't want to drag out this part for longer than it has to.
Okay, wait, I'm waiting for
the
YouTube comments.
Taking a quick look at the last 2 accounts on the list, they have also alluded to Riolu being gone. They post streaks of negative comments towards...
You seem to enjoy Grab, Virtual again, Puke Moche, Zero Effort Channel should banish all cheaters, just like they banish Riolu, El Mao.
Nico, Black Q, Kimura, Spammy, myself. They post comments on Riolu's old videos defending him. In October of 2021, shortly after Bob began farming coppers on all accounts, both of these accounts leave YouTube comments begging a top player for coppers. Uren just so happens to have created their account one day apart from Slobodan and
Uren Fag It
2014, and Swag created his account only 3 weeks after that.
An account like that? Or
then like they don't comment on any of the Trackmania channels we see until 2021, where they all
Own clip? Yeah, guys, I read the name. Guys, I read the name.
Like 3 weeks after that.
Come on, chill.
Then they don't comment on any of the Trackmania channels we see until 2021, where they all converge and repeatedly comment minutes apart from each other with the same opinions and the same language, too many times to be a coincidence. With all of these things in mind, it can therefore be argued that these comments on these accounts are written by the same person.
Yeah, guys, it was not meant to like insult anyone. I just read the name. Sorry.
Back to Fake Eddie, I believe it is most likely Riolu writing these comments.
Crazy, man. Yeah, that's my live reaction right now.
It's understandable if you are too.
That is literally my live reaction now,
and confronting all the nasty things has made this a very uncomfortable video to create. I thought a lot about if the video should even be made, and after contemplating it, I landed on yes.
So I didn't know what to expect from this video, but I didn't expect that much. Like, holy shit.
I thought about how to make it in the best way possible, and realized that with a subject matter
that was such a good video.
There's no good answers.
Like, way better than I had expected when I saw another Riolu video. I'm not gonna lie.
We discovered that rather than apologizing,
like, there were so many new things. That was really good video.
The biggest cheater in Trackmania began playing on an anonymous account 1 month after being exposed. Nadeo knows this and chose to keep the community in the dark about it with no further explanation.
So much information here.
We know Riolu further infiltrated multiple communities using the identity
FBI
of
level
his
shit, yeah, like for real, but like
consent or knowledge.
Super
Possibly also using the general cool account to dox a player who strongly disliked his cheating, and possibly leaving 3 years worth of hate comments towards his main opponents on anonymous YouTube accounts, that all link together in a spiderweb of matching activity, patterns of behavior, and language used. But without systematically going through the evidence, who's gonna believe all of that? The downside of making the video this long is that it inevitably could lead some people to think, it's just records in a game, lol, why are you taking it so seriously?
Yeah, nee.
All in all, I did the best I could.
More than that.
I made this video because I truly care about the game, and I wanted to continue being a friendly and enjoyable environment to compete in. In order for that to happen, I really count on Nadeo to consider doing the following. I hope Nadeo can check the information only they have access to, such as hardware ID, to verify who has been flooding the leaderboard with the following accounts, and that they can ban these accounts and or the person doing it from the leaderboards. Next, I want Nadeo to figure out who doxed Misu on the general cool account, and I sincerely hope they take this case seriously as it borders on being an actual criminal offense. I hope they can identify who stole Eddie's Trackmania account and impersonated him via hardware ID, and help him retrieve the accounts, as in my conversation with him, he seemed really
turbo
eager
cringe
to rediscover his childhood
like
memories.
turbo cringe.
And lastly, I hope Nadeo puts in stronger punishments for cheating, since it should be evident that enabling the worst offenders to compete with no suspension under new names only further propagates the problems in the community. The things I hope that you as a viewer remember from this video is not all the depravity, but the stories like Nico's, so that when you make mistakes, you can better identify the path that leads to the best outcome. And also that when you see hateful comments, they likely stem from hurt and insecure people.
What are these nicknames
who try to hurt others as a way of dealing with their own deficiencies. The way you should deal with these things is not to write hateful comments back, and I urge everyone to stay civil and respectful to the players featured in this video. I will end with the announcement that I'm going to use some of the money this video makes to put up a cash bounty for the first player to drive a 1781 on the track
I would love to try.
For the past 2 years, the players in the Trackmania United Forever community have made a huge collective effort to try to repair the damage done by cheaters, by beating the cheated record
I'm not at home in the weekend
legitimately. In the
I can
fall
try
of
on Monday.
There was only one cheated record left to beat.
But I cannot do it now.
1781 by Riolu on the track Snow B1. Many of the best players got tantalizingly close with several 1782s.
These are some insane players.
Like,
I don't know if I could get this real map though. Yeah, but I remember I tried to hunt this map. I never understood it.
Now that we know this record was driven by Riolu, it leaves me
I don't even have
feeling
Trackmania United Forever, guys.
Snubbed from
I don't even have the game
on
installed
their own, which they are absolutely capable of without his help. To reward the incoming achievement, I am putting up a $777 bounty to the first 1781 by a non-cheater. The requirements to enter are, perhaps unsurprisingly, that you have to verify your identity after setting the record, as well as live streaming the session and a few other rules.
1 second
Full
install.
requirements
Maybe I can try on Monday, guys.
Discord.
If nobody
That's pretty much all for now. Now that this is off my chest, I will return to making videos that I am passionate about and telling stories that inspire me, rather than internet drama. If you made it all the way here, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing the discussion in the comments. That's all for now.
What an insane video, guys.
Have a good one.
Holy shit. Yeah, I think we can all agree that this video was absolutely insane, right? Like, also, shoutouts to Wirtual, insane video. Like, so many new things. I really expected.
There's a select few people that are so
shut up. No, like, incredible video. Like, guys, make sure to watch it again. I think watching this video again also makes sense, so check out the video. Give it some comments, let the algorithm boost it, because, also, absolutely crazy. Wait, I'm not subbed? Yeah, because I'm on my second account, guys. I'm on Grana TV. I'm not on my main account, that's why. I'm not subbed to anyone on this account. But I'm gonna even sub to Wirtual on my second account. There you go. Nah, crazy good video. Like, insane effort, Wirtual. Considering that you only worked on this, like, only for 3 months, is crazy. Like, so much... I don't even know what to say because my head is smoking. Like, you cannot see it on camera, but my head is literally smoking out of my right ear. You don't see it. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Old account. Yeah, hello, my second YouTube channel. What do you mean? Yeah, crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Also, I don't know what to say about it. Like, the effort is just insane, and it was definitely a story worth telling. Like, as I said earlier, I was a bit skeptical before when I saw another Riolu video. I thought like, yeah, as if there's like any new info, but Bruder, there was so much new info. Like this entire multi-accounting, the thing with Eddie especially, that it's one of his IRL friends from like back in the days when they were kids. Insane. Insane.